ignore that, but that's just me, because I just want to make sure that actually I am myself in my own YouTube video. But anyway, also I like my hair today because I washed my hair last night and all curly because this is my natural hair. And let's start. How do I get into Arduino? Right. So as I mentioned previously that I changed my PhD project to the one that closer to my liking after I spoke to my supervisor, which I'm so grateful because I can communicate with my supervisor. In my current PhD, I actually creating something from scratch. Then I'm using Arduino and then I'm testing it and I'm going to add sensors. So that's what I'm working on. I'm actually very excited to do this as well. When I started a few months ago working on Arduino project, it actually flew me back to my first ever job. Let's start. When I was in high school, I was interested to programming as well. Then that time I learned DOS, Basic and C. After that, I actually learned Pascal. But when I learned Pascal, it was like in between when I work, and that was the programming languages that I learned back in Indonesia. I moved to the UK in 2012. Then through the university, I learned MATLAB, and then I learned Python as well, and I learned different type of software for CFD, but it was only how to use the software, not how to code the software or tweak the program. Then I learned web development through work, which I wasn't interested. So the web development was HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and things like that. I never interested to that type of programming, unfortunately. And then I moved to another job. Then I got introduced with C#. Then I got my PhD and then I learned C++. But actually I learned C++ when I actually looking for work, like during summer break and then waiting for my result. But it was just the basic learning. And then before I started my PhD, then I decided I had to be really good in C++, and then I could see that I actually picked it up. Then from there, I got into Arduino. Sometimes I felt that why I discovered it late. Well, late is always better than never, right? When I look at the Arduino and I look at the programming and then I look at the hardware, I actually realized, oh my God, all of the hardware, like mostly I know about it. Because when I finished high school, I was a quality controller for integrated circuit company. I work for their testing department. And it's actually printed in my head, all of the process. Well, that time I needed a job. I worked for that company. Actually, like, I had 3 months training just to know how's the process and what I need to do. So the first process was they had wafer with a little boxes in it that you can see and then have a little dot in the middle. So correct me if I'm wrong, because it's a long time ago. So from the wafer, I think they sent it to the wire bond. In the wire bond department is where they put together the wafer, and then I think they put gold and in it. So it's like sewing machine that move that quickly. Again, I never work in those departments because I'm in a testing department where I know the final product. From the wire bond, I think it moved to the molding department where they put the silicone molding to, you know, the black color. That was the silicone molding. Also the lid. So from there, and then when it's ready with the molding and then all the lids put together, it moves to the marking department. So from the marking department, you can actually identify what's the lot number of the set, like the whole product. And then also what's the serial number. So serial number, lot number, something like that. And then also I think it has the year and also the company stamp. Then some of the IC actually made for other companies, so the other company name. After the marking department, it would move to testing department where I work. So usually it would be tested by the operator. Operator is like individual person that tested the whole lot of the serial number. So sometimes it has the same serial number, but it had different lot. So in the different lots, some of them have like 1,000, some of them 3,000, and some of them only 100. So it depends on what's the order. After the operator actually finish, it goes to me as a quality controller in testing department. So in the testing department, so what I did was some of the material, for instance, SOIC, the one with the slightly bent, like a curvy L-shaped legs. Some of them has like 8 leads, the smaller one, and then some of them have slightly more leads, like 20 leads. So before I run my testing, I have to check the spec to make sure I tested them, what's the serial number, what is the testing temperature, and also like all the other informations. For instance, for the SOIC with the 8 leads, what I remember, most of them has to be tested using hydrogen. So it has to be like in a lower temperature. It means all of this hydrogen hype that is currently on now, actually I encountered hydrogen long before all this hype. Actually, I'm quite chuffed. So some of the IC actually tested in a lower temperature. However, some of them, the one that I know is like the SOIC 20 leads, it has to be tested in a hotter temperature. So when I run the machine, I have to make sure the temperature was right. So for both, and I usually like the bigger one because the smaller one, like the 8 leads, sometimes the testing machine has the error, throwing the whole chips out of the tube. Then I have to like go around under the machine, and then so everyone who works there actually have to wear smock. That's what I remember. So it's like a clean room dress. So we have the shoes, everything is anti-static. So it has different color. For instance, operator will be white, yellow like for QC, white with the fancy hat will be engineer, and then blue will be technician, and I think pink will be a contractor, and then I think sometimes they have green, it will be vendor or someone who has the product or the customer. So we will identify people based on the color of the smoke. Okay, back to the testing. Some of the product that I tested was PDIP, and the PDIP is actually, some of them actually given in this Arduino package. So when I saw the IC, actually it flew me back to my first ever job. That's why I thought, why don't I make this video? So some of them actually, most of them actually have to be tested in a warmer temperature, so like 25 or something. So I had to make sure actually the machine running in 25. So from all the testing, it will go to the packaging, so where the small SOIC would be run in a tape and reel. So some of the operator then will put it in the tape and reel, and then the QC have to inspect it whether the cover is actually like even. If it is uneven, then it will be an error. And then, or with the PDIP, if the lid is actually bending or actually it's rejected because of the temperature or the material, then the QC will, me as a QC, I will put stamp reject. I will have to put like a sheet for the ITR, inspection test report, and then put my reject stamp and then put it back in the shelf, but that will be processed to the engineers to do the testing. So what they want to do, whether they have to rerun the test again. So after that, for the packaging, the testing department, there is a packaging process. So it has to be packaged by the packaging operator. So it has to be labeled properly, put the barcode and everything. And then from there, it's sent to the QC department again, back inspect them, and then put the stamp, and then it's ready to go for the shipment. However, like my job, I could move from testing the machine and then doing the packaging. And also I actually learned how to work in a drop ship. So the shipment for very expensive IC. So some of them is like called PLCC. So the operator will package it. So they have to use a vacuum to move them in a right tray. They have to vacuum it properly, like a seal, air vacuum it. And then before then, I had to inspect the sample to make sure that it's correct, because it was a very expensive product. So that was my experience. So I get so excited with the Arduino because of that. And I'm glad actually I get into Arduino, and I have experience in the past in the manufacturing of integrated circuit. And then I left that job because that time I wanted to change my career, but it was a lucky time. And then I ended up went back to work for a factory again for a few years, and I worked for like wiring harness system company where they create a product for car dashboard. And I work as a quality controller where I inspected, let's say, the connector and the wire whether it was inserted properly. I can tell you the process in where the assembly line where I work. So in the assembly line, I actually work. They have someone like a foreman who would push a trolley to every operator, and then the operator will insert the wire to the connector. But everyone have exactly the same job every day, so they don't need to learn the new thing. So once the wire plug or insert into connectors, the connectors have different color. Like some of them have yellow, some of them have white, and different sizes. There would be assembly, conveyor belt assembly. So it's like a moving assembly where it puts together like where the wire supposed to be. So the same people doing it over and over. And then I think they will put like a jabara. Jabara is like the curly pipe. That is, I think you can buy it from the shop. So they will put that. When everyone doing their part, it moves to the tape department. So correct me if I'm wrong. Where like 3 gentlemen would work on the tape. They do exactly the same job to tape it the exact place every time for each of the wiring harness that they have. And then it moved to me and my other colleague. So 3 of us will work in each part. Like I work on the left side where I have to check all the connector, where if the tape is actually applied, or the jabra was there, or the connector was there. And then from there it moved to circuit test, like mostly man, because they have to work fast, move it, test it, made the sound beep. And then it moved to another place. I never know what happened after that. I think they send it down for another testing by like technician or something before shipment. So those are my manufacturing experience for integrated circuit and wiring harness system. And I'm actually quite proud. Well, regardless, I started the Arduino late, but I don't think it's late because I could see I would work on this really fast. I understood how the C++ programming, and whatever I learned in the past, all my experience in manufacturing or my coding or also my aerospace engineering study, everything that I learned actually helped me. Oh my God. So I'm happy about this. That's why I'm proud, and I'm making this as a video. Yes, at the moment I'm busy with Arduino experimental. I could see that my interest is so much more stronger in a hands-on and also in electronic. It's coding for hardware, like embedded software, or creating something. A few months ago, I actually went to an event for entrepreneurship because I have this idea to create a device that actually can help me in the house. And I have to make it because it's not available for household user, and it is available only for commercial side, so it's like a big companies. So I decided to make it myself, but I'm not going to talk about it here, just in case, because I want to protect the IP. That was some of the things that I'm working on other than my PhD. So let's see. I'm going to update you about this maybe in the future. Okay, anyway, speak to you next time. Bye. Hasta luego. Bye.